This will be a day long remembered. Now I am the master.
Welcome to another episode of Legends and Theories, and welcome to my review of Adventure Time, Season 6 through 10. And I'm going to be finishing up this show and just giving my opinions on it. I almost certainly have the time to do this. I literally haven't had anything to do, and I've explained this all in my weekly update video, which is a lot longer because I literally just wanted something to do. So yeah, let's get into it. And starting off with this, we have the final big storyline with the Lich. Wally's with him as the Lich, since in this he turns into Sweet Pea Trunks. And yeah, looking at this, we have an interesting storyline where Finn tries to meet his father, who has to go leave the Citadel. And the only way to do that is to commit a cosmic crime. But he doesn't, and the Lich does. The Lich breaks everyone out, and Finn does meet his father, who disappoints him and rips his arm off. Yeah, that was pretty crazy. And moving on, there's some other ones. There's James too. That's an okay one. There's Breezy. I think that's where his arm grows back. And then looking at some of the other ones. I don't even see ones that were too interesting. There was an LSP one where it has the story of Fury and K continue. I get to see Shelby's little brother, one of Jake's sons, Kim Kilwan, try to make him be more responsible. It's kind of a nice character driven one with thanks to the crab apples Giuseppe. And then, yeah, not too many interesting ones until we get Joshua and Mark investigations, where we get to see how Jake was born, and that was pretty weird. Since an alien got his dad pregnant and he popped out of his dad's head and started dancing. That was pretty weird, but it was a pretty funny episode still. And let's get some more ones. None that fully stand out to me at least. If you like Jake the Brick, which were okay. There's one that was decent with the Cooler, which is a little more development on Flame Princess's character. And there's a fun one with the Pajama War where it's Princess Bubblegum is thought to be locked in a closet and they think they kill her. And they go on a full on crazy revolt and just start kind of trying to relax. Yeah, and that was a nice one to also develop Princess Bubblegum a little more. And then there's Evergreen, which is actually the origins of the Ace King's crown and everything that happened with it. And there's a really funny one. Funny I was thinking of when I was a little head. And there's one with gold stars, which is actually a scene that we have more with the Lich. And we get to see him go into full Lich mode when people try to threaten him, but he turns back to Sweet Pea, and we see that the Lich is trapped inside him, but it's at least controllable for now. And yeah, it's pretty funny to see stuff with Lemon Grab and stuff when he goes on like a journey with the mountain. And looking at some more, we get Jermaine, we get to see more development. Chips and Ice Cream, which is kind of a dumb episode. I didn't really like it. There's another Grables one. I didn't really like because I think that art style was kind of weird. Was Water Park Prank. And then some of the last ones here I've just meant to set up a bunch of things, including the storyline with the comet, Finn's dad, and more. And that really starts with the episode, I think, You Forgot Your Floaties, although it may have been Orgalorg. I don't remember exactly. It's been a little bit since I have watched it, since I have a lot of content to come out, but I remember it starts around there. And still, Orgalorg is an interesting one. We could see that Gunter is actually an evil entity that was dropped to Earth and wants to take the power of the comet for him to become the ultimate power in the universe, and it was pretty crazy. Then we get to see one with Finn's dad, and he's on a planet, and he kind of ruins everything for them, and then leaves. And then finally, there's a really crazy one for the finale where Princess Bubblegum loses her power, and the King of Boo takes over, and then there's an ultimate battle between really Finn and Orgalorg, where his dad does come to help. And yeah, that was a pretty interesting story, and I think it was done well. Moving on to season 7. Hang on to get there. We get to see some more just development for Princess Bubblegum, and she's not really princess this time, so we see some of her origins and some stuff of their relationship with Marceline. This is a little more focused on, characters, and now with Bubblegum being in power, that was the first part. And the first part is really just the first 5 episodes, since after that it begins one of the big storylines, with that being Stakes, and that's actually the first story arc they do on the show, where it's more than an episode or two, and this is a big storyline revolving around Marceline and her past and the vampires. Yeah, I think overall Stakes is good. I don't know, maybe in the future I'll review each of these individual arcs as a whole, because I don't have too much to say right now, but I feel like I could do a lot more probably in the future, although I don't want to do it right now, because I think it'll take a lot more time. And yeah, honestly, I'm just going to take a look at these as a whole, as just episodes, and not look at the individual storylines for too long, because that'll take just a lot longer. And then there's one where we get, I think this is one where Mo dies and he has a fake one. And then there isn't too many good ones. They're not great, but then we get to a pretty fun one with President Porpoise is missing. The entire thing being it was just a 3-day weekend. And then there's a weird one with blank-eyed girls. Well, just blank-eyed girl, not girls. And again, with kind of an odd animation style. I don't love Bad Jubies, but I kind of like it more than the water park one, since it's not as odd doing claymation. And then looking at these, there's some okay ones, but then we get crossover, which is having the Return of the Lich in it, where they have to go and fight him in Farm World. And that one was probably one of the more interesting ones. And yeah, moving on to the rest, we have those ones that are different things. There's one where Finn begins kind of a relationship with the Huntress Wizard. And yeah, that was kind of interesting. But yeah, that's season 7. Moving towards season 8. These are a lot easier now because they're a lot shorter. Seasons 5 and 6 are both like 40 episodes long. I'm going to take a look at some of the other stuff we get to see and things. There's a kind of weird one with Bun Bun, where we get to see some more development with the Flame King and him becoming a person. And then I think I looked past it, but there's one where they Oh yeah, I really missed the Finn Sword one, but that was back last season. Where they're bringing back. Can't think of the guy's name. I can't think of his name. Prismo. They're bringing back Prismo and the ultimate version of Finn Sword to the Finn Sword. And then looking at some other stuff, we have the storyline with Normal Man, and that's pretty interesting. I think in one episode, Finn loses the Finn Sword again. It's destroyed, and I think in that one, the grass arm comes off and he gets a new replacement one. I don't know if it was that one, but I know it happens around here. And then we get 5 Short Tables, which sets up the Grable storyline. And then there's a Daddy Daughter Card Wars, which was another interesting storyline. Just, fun Card Wars one, and Card Wars was fun the first time. There is Preboot and Reboot, which are ones that kind of set up the Island storyline that happened a few episodes later. But before that, we get to see the birth of Fern. And then we get to see Finn trying to be a doctor in one of the more illegal episodes of the show, since, well, he is impersonating a doctor. And I mean illegal as in it's kind of illegal what he's doing, at least by a modern viewpoint, so that's pretty funny. And it shows it's a bad thing, so it's not like it's promoting faking being a doctor. And then looking at the rest, there wasn't anything too important really to talk about here. But then we have the Island storyline, which makes Finn connect with his past. And we get to see some pretty crazy things, including his origins, why he had the fear of the ocean, and him meeting his mother, who was turned into an AI. And yeah, I think that's all pretty interesting. And I think Islands was probably the best storyline. And I think Stakes was probably the worst one, but there's only 3 big storylines. And talking about 3 big storylines, the last storyline was the storyline with Elements. And with that, we get to see all the elements being brought out, and that was set up last season. I completely forgot to talk about that one, but yeah, it was a pretty interesting one. We got to see a little more development for characters like Betty. The Ice King took a major role. Yeah, that was overall pretty interesting to see. This is a pretty short season too. So once that storyline is done, there's only a few episodes where Jake takes the new form for an episode. And then there's kind of a retelling of the seasons. There's an odd Mordecai cameo. And there's a Fiona and Cake episode again. Was one impersonating Fiona. And then, yeah. There's not much more besides episode where Finn is attacked by Fern. And Finn is ultimately forced to kill him. At least he thinks he kills him, but yeah, he doesn't really because he's brought back. And finally, moving to season 10. This is a very character focused one, setting up a big storyline for the end of Ultimate War. Yeah, that's kind of settled at the beginning, where we have episodes focusing on characters. Pretty basically, we have one with BMO, one with Flame Princess, one with Princess Bubblegum, each subtly setting up her Uncle Gumbald. And then this kind of blows up at 17, where Finn does turn 17, but is confronted by Fern and the Uncle Gumbald. And that was pretty interesting to see, where they go through some crazy party games. And then looking at some other ones, There's a kind of bad Tree Trunks one, which just kind of focuses on her love life. And then a few that do go together. We have First Investigation, where they are going to investigate everything and they learn how Jake was born. And then there's some other stuff we get to see Finn kind of going on a quest by himself while he's waiting for Jake, and then going with Jermaine to find Jake on Mars. We then get to see what happened to Jake at that time and how his father was trying to trick him. But then, looking at some of the other things, we have the last two episodes, which are the series finale. And the first one is trying to set up the war between the Candy Kingdom. And the second one has a pretty big storyline in it, where there's going to be the Great War, and Finn is able to make the war not happen. But at the same time, what's his name? I can think of the guy's name. I think it's Kolb, is summoned to try and by Betty to try and save the Ice King, well, save Simon from the Ice King, and it ends in a pretty satisfying way where we see that Betty sacrifices herself, and Simon does get cured from being the Ice King, which actually turns Gunter into the new Ice King, and yeah, everything was pretty interesting. And they wrap up the series in a pretty good place, setting it up for the future. And there's stuff like Adventure Time Distant Lands, which I have already reviewed. Yeah, I think they did a good job finishing up Adventure Time. Honestly, I don't think they did a good job as regular show, but with the very tragic death of Pops in the end of regular show, I don't think they could have really topped that. At least for me, since I was far more of a regular show fan than an Adventure Time one. Also, Adventure Time is a really good show. It's definitely one of the last great animated series to be made by Cartoon Network, since it seems that they've really gone downhill and have given us stuff like Teen Titans Go, Total Drama Rama. We have the really bad Ben 10 reboot. Yeah, they've really been going downhill and have cut out even more time with having preschool programming at the start. So yeah, I don't know if we're going to get too much more, and the only one I'm really interested in that's going to be airing on Cartoon Network but also will be on HBO Max is Batman Caped Crusader. And that's supposed to be one in this, like, by the basis of Batman the Animated Series, but it seems like they have even less restrictions. So, yeah, that'll be interesting to see. But yeah, honestly, this is probably one of the last great shows of Cartoon Network that isn't also being funded by HBO. And yeah, I want to see really what this is going to be like if they continue on with the Fiona and Cake spinoff. I'll eventually review that. It probably won't be immediately. I'll probably wait for the entire season to be done at least. And yeah, I still think that this is a really good show, and maybe a better way to say it is this is probably the last good original Cartoon Network series that we'll have for a while. Since really the only things I'm kind of interested in, I'll even be on Cartoon Network, is basically in DC related stuff, and that's also going to be on HBO Max, as I said. So I don't know what you think. Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you all in the next episode of Legends and Theories. Thank you for watching this episode of Legends and Theories. Please subscribe, like the video, share the video, leave a comment, check out the video on screen, and may the Force be with you.